why do you haven't play this like game and interview? And even some of the questions we ask, it's just they don't make why do you want to work for us? And it's like
because I need a paycheck.
And we all know that like that's the truth. And it's like, okay, maybe there's a time where it's like you're doing something cool and I'm excited about the brand. Okay, that can happen. It's like you force people into like literally lying. And that's why like one of my biggest videos on Instagram and TikTok is 3 lies you got to say in the interview. Why do you want this job? Don't say money. Never say money. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Got to be at the company. And it's just like, average tenure is 2 to 3 years. Like, why are we asking these questions?
Wie wäre es, weniger Zeit mit dem Einkauf zu verbringen und dafür mehr Zeit für deine Lieblingspodcasts zu haben? Mit dem Rewe Abholservice geht das. Bestell deinen Einkauf einfach online und hol ihn bequem und fertig gepackt im Markt ab. Natürlich ohne Mindestbestellwert. So bleibt dir mehr Zeit für die nächste Podcast-Folge oder deine Lieblingstracks. Jetzt ausprobieren auf rewe.de/shop oder in der Rewe-App. Dein Rewe Abholservice. Online bestellen, im Markt abholen.
10 years from today, Lisa Schneider will trade in her office job to become the leader of a pack of dogs. As the owner of her own dog rescue, that is. A second act made possible by the reskilling courses Lisa's taking now with AARP to help make sure her income lives as long as she does. And she can finally run with the big dogs. And the small dogs, who just think they're big dogs. That's why the younger you are, the more you need AARP. Learn more at aarp.org/skills.
Joel, do us a favor. If you could somehow collapse this entire internet fame that you've created over the last decade or so.
You mean this didn't happen last week?
I want to set the expectation really high, right? That's always fair. No.
And that's fair.
But introduce yourself, brother. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Joel Lalgee, probably known as, I am known as the Realest Recruiter now. As you can see, I got the light up here, and anyone who's listening, if you follow me on socials, that is my handle, except for on X, where it's the Human Headhunter. Don't know why I chose that name, but Realest Recruiter everywhere else. I've been in the recruitment space for about a decade, mainly on the agency side. Just working with a couple of RPOs, and then another retained firm in Chicago called Hirewell. So shout out to Hirewell. And then about a year and a half ago, I went full time into content creation, consulting, and just doing what I love for the recruitment space, making people laugh, putting out relatable content, and then just talking a lot about what's actually going on in work for people who are doing the work and people who aren't in leadership seats.
So do you occasionally make placements just for fun?
Yeah. I work on maybe 1 to 2 searches a quarter, usually like non-technical leadership level roles. So last role I had was a controller position for an aerospace company. So I'll take on searches when they make sense. I try a lot of tech in the industry. I get a lot of startups. Obviously there's so many AI companies that are pitching services. So I'm like, hey, if I can get the service for free, I will use it on recruitment searches, and then just do consulting around like social media, how to attract candidates, and have fun that way.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. Is there any tech right now that you're absolutely just loving? I mean, outside of LinkedIn Recruiter, of course, that's just stated and covered. But is there anything else that just like really you're like, dude, seriously, I couldn't do my job without?
Yeah, I love the interview transcription tool. So MetaView is a tool that I use, and I've been partnered with them for about 6 months. But I think what I love most is just anybody I refer over to them. They're a little bit skeptical, and maybe they're like old school and like, hey, I love writing notes. And then as soon as they try it, they're like, how am I going to even live without this?
Convincing somebody. My wife is in that camp. Like even on basic Zoom meetings for Swimboard or some shit like that.
Yep.
She wants to write the note. She will not use. She calls it the computer. She will not use AI to transcribe her notes, summarize anything. And I gave up trying to convince her.
It's like an art form, right? It's like thank you notes. Like people just they don't want to give it up.
Yeah,
No,
I gave
no.
it up the moment it was available. Honestly, it's better than what I'm going to do. And if it's not correct, it's correct enough
Yeah,
to make
100%.
sense.
Well,
Only
even
only
with
thing
like
I still write down is salaries, just so we're clear too, because I think that's the one area which like
that's fair.
I gotta write that part down, because if you
Yeah.
mess that up, it's just
Yeah,
everything's over.
you said 260. I came out back at 140. Yeah,
Yeah,
you know what? We're gonna. You're not going to appreciate that as humor because I got that so wrong.
exactly.
That's fair.
I mean, I'll
So
make for
one
a
of the
good meme on LinkedIn. That's about it.
it was
Yeah.
I would do it.
Would,
I'll
right?
write
It's
that.
worth 20 clicks. It's all
you
good.
said. I
Exactly.
heard sender and receiver.
So
I think
we were going.
so
There they
MetaView.
go.
Oh, go ahead.
MetaView.
Yep. So MetaView, and then Better Leap I'm using for sourcing.
Right.
And then EQ Buddy. I don't know if you guys have heard of EQ Buddy.
No. Tell us about EQ Buddy. What's that?
Basically, it's like ultimate recruitment assistant. So I use it for like research. I actually use it a lot for research for like podcast guests. Use it to write content, job ads, messaging, sourcing. So I've been using that tool a lot as well. And
that's cool.
Yeah,
Right.
It's kind of like ChatGPT,
Right.
but
But
just better.
Better with recruiting, especially maybe built with or with recruiting in mind.
Exactly.
What was the sourcing tool?
Sourcing tool is Better Leap.
I don't know Better Leap as well.
Yeah, they've
Ryan,
been going against like Gem and Contact Out like crazy and winning. And I mean, they just do a simple test. You take all your contact information that you have, put it through their their service, and they're winning a lot of companies in like healthcare, manufacturing, where it's just
so they'll go into an ATS, refresh the data, and now you have up to date. If you got a million people in your ATS, now you've got up to date data with all those people.
Yeah, I mean they actually have you test it through, like, so if you've got people stored in whatever, I don't know, Gem for example, you just literally test it out against Better Leap's database, and they got better data apparently. So
that's cool.
They've been winning deals, and I like it just because it's flat fee. There's no credit games. It's just like
I think that's important too. I mean, the amount of tools that are out there, they do 37 things. They have 27 different pricing plans, and you just can't make a purchase.
No.
You've got to go through the demo. You've got to go through a call. You got to go through the qualification call to get to the sales demo, to then get to the sales proposal. It's a pain in the ass. It is not. It's not easy. So the simpler these companies start to make their product and their process, I was
using Signal Hire the other day, and it's a credit still.
Yeah,
so it's like, okay, you put in tokens. I'm like, dude, you're working against my interests here.
Yeah.
Like this isn't. I felt like actually contacting them and going, you seriously make it unlimited. Just charge a higher fee. It's okay.
That's what Better Leap has had to do. So we're doing it for free for like 10 days, and then I mean, look, recruiters, sometimes we hurt ourselves because they had too many people just like putting they were doing exactly what you just said, which is they're putting a whole database through and refreshing all the contact information. And then
in the 10 days.
Yeah.
And then, that's of course.
So they put a limit on there now, but also the contract's month to month. And I think to your point, Ryan, I mean, I just think it's thinking about like, okay, everybody wants to lock people in for the year-long contract, the whatever, right?
MRR,
It's just, if you're a smaller company or you got a team that's had that budget slashed, I think you're asking a lot if they've never, like, month to month, I think makes a lot of sense. And just that flat fee, it's easy to understand, easy to pitch. I can just imagine that conversation with the CFO, like, well, got credit system here, and I don't know how many credits we're gonna need, so we'll just come to you. We're gonna buy.
Actually, we've been through this previously with like fucking Apollo.
Yeah.
You buy 200,000 credits, you use 100, and then your contract expires, and they don't want to allow you to use the other portion. Well, you didn't use it in time.
Exactly. Perfect.
Yeah. Never be back. I will never be back there. Sorry.
No. Well, and in these calls like this, that an audience is going to listen to, they hear this and they're like, okay, I'm not going to use that service.
Yeah.
This is the power of that type of stuff. It's like, just don't screw people over. And again, I won't deal with the recruiter behavior because we don't have enough time. But when we were going back and forth via email about the show, I think I asked you what was pissing you off lately or something like that, or what was on your mind. You're like,
everything.
this whole bit around culture being
Like,
this
have
game.
you looked at my LinkedIn or have you looked at my
Oh,
TikTok, dude? Like,
no,
seriously.
no, I follow all this stuff. So it's like, I know it's pissing him off, but I just wanted to see what he would email back. But you said culture is a game, and we even talked to you in pre-show about how, as a recruiter, you got to sell this bucket of shit that is the culture that you don't really know because you're not living it, you're not living through it, and so, but you got to, put, what is it, the Valley guys call, put lipstick on a pig, as it relates to a startup. So
EVP.
Yeah. So what's your take on culture right now and how to sell it?
Yeah, look, I just think we're reaching a point now where, number one, the corporate trust is just low, right? I mean, how can you trust any corporation? It's just, I don't think it's possible. And the data shows that, right? It's like employee engagement, corporate trust, all-time low. And I also think at the flip side, we've got really high inflation. Things cost a lot, and there are a lot of people who, it's just tough right now. And so what I'm honestly thinking is going to happen is, I think it's a tough job market right now for white collar jobs. There's a lot of people on the market. So obviously companies can get people back to the office. They can lowball them. They can do all the things you could do in an employer market. I think as things start to kind of bounce back, whenever that is, and go back to more of a candidate market, I think the generation coming into the workplace is going to have much more of like a fractional mindset and like, hey, look, I got skills, I got time, let's trade that. As opposed to, I think this whole idea even of just like working for like one company and like being loyal and all of these ideas, like they're still out there, but they just you're just losing people all the time. Like,
so you're an advocate for polygamy is where you're going with this.
I think so, and like also like, I think to
work
a certain
polygamy, Ryan, work polygamy,
and I think, but to a certain degree, like I think you're always gonna have your core group of people at an organization. But it's like the thing that always confused me was like when you're hiring, whoever, like an executive assistant. Nothing against executive assistant, but if you're hiring an assistant or someone who's entry level, it's like, why do you have him play this like game in the interview? And even some of the questions we ask, it's just they don't make, why do you want to work for us? And it's like,
because I need a paycheck.
And we all know that like that's the truth. And it's like, okay, maybe there's a time where it's like you're doing something cool and I'm excited about the brand. Okay, that can happen. It's like you force people into like literally lying. And that's why like one of my biggest videos on Instagram and TikTok is 3 lies you got to say in the interview. Why do you want this job? Don't say money. Never say money. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Got to be at the company. And it's just like, average tenure is 2 to 3 years. Like, why are we asking these questions? So I just think it's like this whole idea of like, it's just not the same workforce that was 20, 30 years ago. We got to get past these things. And like, culture is a big deal, right? But it's not just answering questions in a robotic formula and like during an interview. It's more than that. But I also think
is culture a big deal, Joel? Like, really? I don't mean to be, but you just said it. So you just said culture is a big deal.
I think it matters for some people, and for the bulk of people who are in your organization, I don't think it matters that much. I think what they care about is their own skill growth. I think they care about their own career, and it's like maybe we meet in the middle and go, all right, for this period of time, I'm going to help you, you're going to help me. But it's this whole idea of like, it's like job hopping and things like that. It's just, there's still these ideas that that's some kind of like negative thing. And I'm like, look, at the end of the day, it's an employment contract. You're trading time, skills for money.
That's it. Well, it's interesting how you put that, Joel, because I think, okay, so William, culture, I think, is important to the company.
Oh, hell yeah.
I think
important
culture to the employee.
The lies we tell. Yeah, of course it's important.
Culture to the employee, I think they want it to be important. They want to work for a company that means something to them. I don't think that actually happens. Now, I think the trust for that, Joel, what you were saying, where for that period of time that I'm at a company, for that period of time, I'm trading my services for your money. This is how for skills, right? This is how our relationship's going to be. I'm not going to be here 30 years. You're not giving me a pension. My retirement comes with me. I go wherever I want to go. I'm going to put the same money in, get the same stuff back, right? Like that's how we know work today. Our parents didn't know that, right? Our grandparents didn't know it. They knew you go work for 30 years. You're going to get this amount of money for the rest of your life on top of whatever you invested. We don't have, most of us, I should say most of us don't have that anymore. So I think culture is important to the company. I don't think the employees really care one way or the other, as long as the agreement is there.
Think of it like this. All three of us have lots of family members, right? Let's just say we have 40 family members that are living, cousins and whatnot. How many of those people do you really love? Don't answer. Okay.
Oh, I was about to.
Don't answer.
You almost got me in trouble.
Don't answer. All right. Now, you live in a neighborhood. We all three live in neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Right? It could be a condo. It could be whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. How many of those people that you live around do you even know their name? Much less like. Much less love. And again, don't answer.
Yeah.
I know 4.
You know 4?
I know 5.
By name?
5 houses by name out of the entire development. Yeah, there's probably 150 homes here.
I've lived in the same neighborhood for 24 years. 3.
And
I like 1. And I like 2. That's it.
Yeah.
But my point is that's the employee pool. Those are your peers. You don't have to like them. You don't have to know them. You don't have to love them. This concept, and this is one of the things I loved about Joel's topic, is like this idea that you're going to come together just because of the shared work experience and be somehow tethered to these other people. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I think, like, my mind, when I think of culture, it automatically goes to like cult, right? I mean, that's where like the word came from. So it's like you can't get cult without culture.
It is the root word.
How many times have I said cult over the last 2 weeks with culture?
Well, what's the short of fanatic? Fan.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
Fair enough.
Exactly. So I'm like, I just look at that and I'm like, I think I think there can be like a core group of people and it can mean different things, but the problem is like, it's almost like it's just been, I remember when I got into the workforce, which, you know, it was like 15, 16 years ago. It's not like decades, but when I got in, it was like, remember the first company I worked with, it was an internship. And they were like, you got to go to the after hours things. You got to go play volleyball with the team. You got to get involved in something. And I'm like, I already work here, like 8 hours.
You lost me at,
I was like, I'm not doing that. I was like, I live an hour and a half away. I live an hour and a half away. There's no way that I'm spending time with people outside of work.
You lost me at gotta. You gotta do so. This isn't Russia.
Well, so Joel, let me ask you this. I feel like we're on the same level here, the same plane here. I'll use the gym as an example. The people that I see at the gym, I don't want to see them outside the gym. When I see them outside the gym, they look ridiculous in clothes. Like outside of gym clothes, I think they look weird.
I'll go further, but this will be a little bit inappropriate. So this is why you don't go to your local strip club.
Yeah, because you run into your family.
You don't want to see them. You don't want to see them. You at Whole Foods picking up bananas like, hey,
how are you?
Well, you look different. You look different in the light.
In the past, I've had. I worked at a bank for a while, and we would run into local girls from the strip club, and it was like when you just see people in the wrong environment or a different environment,
it's different.
I think that's. I should have known though with this company. They warned me. They were like, "We got a great culture."
Oh, that was it.
And I was like, "Oh, that's good, right?" Like everyone talks about culture. I didn't know that meant like I had to be obsessed with the company and like do all this stuff.
You got to go drink with them. You got to go play softball. So you better be good at softball. Now it's like a different pressure. You hired me to do this other thing, and now I've got to hit balls.
That's what it felt like. But I just think that mentality is just changing. And when you look at, obviously like TikTok is, and there's a lot of Gen Z on TikTok, right? So I consume a lot of that content, and I just don't. I don't see them caring in the same way. And I don't even really think all of us deep down, like, we're really into that. But it's like, at what point did that even become like a thing? Like, you would bring it up with grandparents. I don't remember my grandparents being like, oh, the culture in that manufacturing line was amazing. It was like, they just clock in, clock out.
They were locked in.
And
they were locked in.
Yeah.
Their culture was, you stay here 35 years, you retire. You retire. My kids, they're Gen Z, and the oldest one is deciding college, and he has not said culture the entire time he's been looking at colleges. It's like he's looking at which one's going to help him get to the place he wants to get to. Other than that, he doesn't give a shit.
That's the relationship. Yeah, that's the relationship. It's what are you going to do for me while I'm here to get me there?
Which we have to adopt, because if we don't adopt that for folks coming in, we're not going to be able to attract them.
No. But isn't that a culture too? I mean, that's a culture of a company to say, and I'll use that word, snickering inside. But a company, so we built the company. The employees come in. We tell them, look, we're not expecting you to be here in 10 years. We expect you during that couple of years that you're here to use us to get to where you want to go, and we're going to do the same. We have that agreement. We know what we're going to do. We're going to make it fun. We're going to have fun. We're going to pay you well. You're going to work hard. We're going to work hard.
Yeah.
Halliday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength, Halliday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Halliday. Halliday, bring it on.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
That reminds me of Coach Cal at Memphis and then Kentucky and now at Arkansas. He was the first coach in college basketball to say the one and dones. That's a great idea. So he attracted a lot of guys that basically was like, come in 1 year, give me 1 year. Well, first of all, legally they had to. All right, but give me 1 year, and I'm going to get you ready for the NBA.
Exactly.
That's it.
So he embraced it. I think that is a culture.
Give it expectations and just kill it.
And I think that's like I had a podcast. It's my latest episode actually came out today, and the girl who was on it, she's got like a company that does they look at like compensations, and so like when they send out an offer, like you get to like the candidate actually gets to see like what equity looks like, and it explains things.
Oh, cool!
Super cool. Like, and then they can like analyze like where people are spending most time on the offer as well by the mouse pointing. And guess what? Guess where it is? The major place is the money. You know, it's not the team members. It's always the money.
Shocking.
I know.
Shocking.
And she's like, we can see how many times they clicked on it. But anyway, what was cool about her approach? Number one, we had the whole talk about like Nike and the CEO saying about remote work, and we disagree because I was like, remote work, I don't see it stifling innovation in that way. And she's like, no, I make sure all my company, we're a startup in the Bay Area, everybody's in the office. I said, okay, interesting. So we disagreed on that. But then what she said was, she'll bring people into the organization, and then she teaches them like how to get funding and like just like all around about the business. And her mindset is what you just described, Ryan, which is like, hey, I'm gonna like teach you like business. I'm gonna invest in the things that you care about. And guess what? Then people are willing to go into the office. And it's just, I think she has that mindset of like, hey, you're probably going to be someone who wants to start your own business. So instead of like being scared of that and being like, where do I see myself in 5 years?
Let's help you build and get to the next.
Exactly. And just level. Understanding that like, this person who's even just starting out, like they have their own goals and their aspirations, which is why, again, like with that non-compete thing that passed. And I think those types of things are exciting because it's like companies don't own people. Right. And I think this is where, I think this idea of like just companies like owning everything, owning your brand, owning your time, and I think cultures like you're describing, they're going to be more flexible and like understanding of people. And it's okay if you took some time to start your own business or do something on the side even.
Why not? I mean, I feel like, William, we've been there together.
Real quick, right? It's like the language that's created over time, Joel. Like you just said, on the side. It's for the folks that are doing it. It isn't on the side. Mm-hmm. It's just a part of what they do.
Exactly.
But what I mean? Like it's that side hustle that we've kind of demonized through the years or through the decades. Like you're somehow stealing from the company because you're doing this other thing over here. It's like it isn't other. It's an addition.
Yeah.
And so I think we have to change our vernacular. I think we have to change the way that we talk, because it could come across as derogatory. It's like, no, it's at gigs. Like, I've tried this out with my sons just to kind of see what they thought about it. I'm like, career, what is that? They had no idea. Job, what is that? No idea. I'm like, gig. All of them, both boys, knew what a gig was.
That's cool.
Like an Uber driver. I'm like, absolutely. Absolutely. So it's like thinking in gigs, and you can work several gigs simultaneously.
Why not?
It doesn't matter. Right? It doesn't take away. It's not. It's just another thing that you do. It's in addition. Ryan, I totally.
Yeah. No, you're good. I mean, if you can manage your time properly and you can work 3, I don't even call them jobs. I like the word gigs. If you can drive Uber, DoorDash, you can run your content business, you can consult with people, you can do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Doing the Uber, being an Uber driver on the side of having another job, that fuels your other job, right? That fuels your ability to do. Now, you could make the argument you're just not getting paid enough. Okay, that's fine as well. But I agree. I don't think it's any longer. I don't think side hustle is the appropriate terminology for it. It's just part of life. This is how we live. And honestly, I haven't been in a corporate setting in a long time now, almost going on 10 years now. I don't know that I would want to go back. I don't know anything different anymore, right? I don't know anything different, right? I need to be in this environment, I think, to fuel myself to actually want to. What I was going to say earlier was when you had mentioned about companies don't own people except for pizza makers. So the call we had today, the episode we had today around the non-competes.
Yeah.
What was the example? It was the pizza shops had non-competes on the pizza makers.
Yeah.
They put non-competes on the pizza makers, which I thought was hilarious.
Who does that? What type of evil do you have to be to put non-competes on guys that are making pizza? Not chefs, different gig.
Pizza.
No, these are guys back in the back. They're putting sauce on dough and putting toppings and cheese and putting it in an oven.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Now, if it was an agreement of like, hey, this is our secret sauce.
Yeah.
Right? This is literally our sauce, not this is our sauce. Like, this is our recipe type.
Well, it's like an NDA, right? I mean,
it's an NDA. Yeah. And then don't allow the pizza chef, the pizza guy, to make the sauce. You make the sauce, and he just puts it on.
Yeah.
Anyone can figure it out has the ability to taste. You're going to taste your pizza and say, well, here's the 12 things in there.
So what's the dirtiest you've ever felt selling culture? So, like, go back through your history.
Yeah, look, I've got it in my head right now. There's
he's still scrubbing.
You had to take a shower.
Well, it's because of like what happened after, like the 9 months afterwards. So, I was working with a client locally to me, and it was just I hate to say like red flags, but like the first red flag was when me and the account manager at the time who was working. So I was just working as a consultant. We had an account manager managing a relationship, and the account manager happened to be he's a friend of mine. He was younger than me, and so this guy gets on, and he was like late 50s, maybe 60s. He's like, oh, a couple millennials, like you're living in your parents' basement. It just kept like saying like stuff, and then I'd send people over, and it was just like weird comments about like all the stuff we're talking about. Like, be like, oh, what's this gap in this work? And it was just over and over. It was like just so difficult. And we got to a point where I just had to have a conversation and just said, look, I'm not going to keep sending people. Like, you need to have a conversation with one of these people. Like, you guys don't have any brand recognition here. We're really not working with anything. So you need to have a conversation with anybody that I get for you. And I'm in Wisconsin, so it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere anyway. And trying to get like a top salesperson is a challenge. So he ended up having a conversation with this woman I sent through. It was great. It seemed great. She was excited, but really she just was not enjoying her current job, right? She'd been there for 8 years. She just was hating her own job so much that she was willing to consider anything. And so we painted this picture of like, hey, there's so much opportunity. You could get to go internationally, and it's going to be collaborative. The office is great. They just have like a rehab. Like, you're going to love it there, blah, blah, blah. And then literally 4 months later, after she signed everything, went through, and granted, she went through the interview process. So there's always that where it's like, hey, if you interviewed,
right,
you got to do a little due diligence yourself. But as a recruiter, it's like, I'm getting her over the line and getting her to accept the offer. And then 4 months later, she ended up leaving through like harassment and all this sort of stuff.
Oh,
and it's like, you feel terrible because, again, it's like it's someone's life decision. It's a big decision. And she reached out to me and was like, I love all your content on social media. It's hilarious. And like, I love your points of view. I'm like, thanks. She's like, but man, that job was terrible. And so, but as an agency recruiter, this is a dilemma, right? Like, they don't call us in. The great companies aren't like, hey, we need help, like hiring people. We always get like the worst, like the people who can't attract anything, and that's who we work for. So it's like you just selling people on like a dream that doesn't exist. But that by far was the worst one, because it's just like, I don't know, it's like your own brand's in there too, and then I'm posting stuff like about toxic bosses and all this stuff, and she's like, well, why don't you warn me?
If you have like baseline beating heart, you care.
Exactly.
Right? And
exactly.
so in the end, it does bother you. Yeah.
I would never forget that one though. And it was like,
oh no.
But to be fair, I told the account manager we needed to fire the client, because that's how my mentality was always like, if someone's just terrible, like I don't care if they're paying you money, just drop them. They're not worth it, because you're only going to get one search out of them. It's going to be a nightmare. You probably have to replace the person in 90 days anyway. You just walk away. But it's like, no,
we can make it work.
He'll learn. I'm like, this guy's like 60. He's not learning anything new. Okay?
No, he's not learning. No, because he's got the game set up the way he wants the game to be played.
Exactly.
And so you're just a minion at that point, selling something on his behalf, her behalf, whatever.
Yeah.
Have either of you had to sell something that you knew was toxic, like really, like you just knew? And I've asked this to other recruiters too, by the way, that they knew what they were doing. They knew this is a bad environment. And it doesn't have to be toxic. It's just a bad environment. They worked really hard, whatever.
I've definitely worked a lot of, because I worked in the construction industry for a decent amount of time, and I was doing recruitment for these like mid-sized GCs, and it's a tough one, because you hear the word in the street, right? Like because once you start going out there, particularly in these smaller markets, like everybody knows each other because they're all going to the same events. So you start to. I've definitely worked with companies where like I've known they've got issues. I mean, it's not just looking at Glassdoor. You send people 20 messages, and 18 of them are like, oh, I hate that guy. Like, there's a problem. So I work with a handful of clients like that. But what I always try to do is just try and be as transparent as possible and be like, hey, look, you probably have heard of some of the issues, but I would also go to the clients and be like, look, this is what people are saying. Like, are you guys doing anything about this? And, so a lot of the clients would be like, yeah, actually, we know this is an issue. This is what we're trying to do. And try and use that as like a selling point for people, because some people like that challenge, right? Of like going in and fixing something. But that's as close as I get. I mean, again, like I was pretty big on just like firing. Like if I find out someone's just a dick, or they're just deliberately like
just move
a
on.
Bad person, like
illegal, whatever.
Well, I had one guy just early on in my career, and I submitted a candidate, and he I get an email back, and it's a like UCare, is it UCare, where you like you crowdfund and
Yeah.
it's like UCare.
yeah.
It's got the candidate's name, and then it's got a diagnosis, a definition of leukemia, and like how long you have to live. And I'm like, what the hell is this?
What?
And he's like, just Googled her, found out she had cancer. I think she had cancer.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, like, do you understand like how insanely offensive this is? Like, this is just weird, man. Like, how can I ever, if this is how you respond to me, like, how can I ever like send anybody?
I can't unsee that, Penny. Now
No.
I can't unknow that. I can't unhear that. You're just dead to me. Sorry. Just never lose my contact information.
And we just told her, like, hey, we're not going to work with this person anymore.
Right.
And it was like my first 3 months in recruitment too, and I'm just like,
it's good.
I'm like,
it's better that than to get 10 years in and be warped and all of a sudden be blindsided by something like that. I think it's good to have that early in your career, because it's like, okay, now I know what I don't want to do.
Yeah, exactly. All
right. Any hot takes on employer branding or kind of the way people position their culture or their brand?
Yeah, look, I think I don't know if you guys saw that. I'm sure you did. The whole Cloudflare saga that happened a couple months ago, right? So with video layoff, it's amazing.
Yeah,
the new trend.
Dude, that was
the volume bit. Yeah,
the girl had the video streaming from the side.
I know.
Tell me why again? I don't understand. Tell me again. It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. And like, I think like it's just then like I hear the CEO's explanation, and it's like, well, we hire winners, and it's like they could be a great sports player but just be on the wrong team, and you use a sports analogy. But then I go to the website, like just go to the career page, and they're leading with like inclusivity, and like they're leading with all the fields, and I'm like, this is where we get it wrong. Like, just and I've had people on like TikTok kind of say, well, every company wants winners, right? Like, no one wants losers. Like, everyone wants top performers, right? But I'm just kind of saying, like, why are you leading with like inclusivity and like making people feel good when like that's not really like the culture that your leaders are talking about? Like, and I think like what's happened is just this whole idea of like huge top of funnel. Like, we got to have thousands of applicants. We got to have lots of people, instead of just, I think, just more transparency with what the culture's like and like what your actual mantras are like. And there's going to be plenty of people who are like, it's not for me.
Which is the goal.
That is the goal. That's always been the goal. I don't know why that's not the goal.
Screen people in instead of out. You'll be much better off.
Right. If the CEO if the career site would have been, hey, listen, we look at this like a franchise. A football franchise, basketball franchise, pick a franchise that you like. Yeah. Every year we reset.
Yeah.
Every year is going to be the top X%. And then that means that every year we're going to have to go through some people we have to cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in 12 months, you may be cut, but you can work here today.
But you know what? If you know that going in, and everywhere through the process you've learned that, it's like, okay.
I actually wouldn't hate that, to be honest. I would personally be attracted to that, because I would say, where am I going to end up? And I would work to get to a certain level, and not just to impress people, but it would actually be fun for me to do that. I would actually appreciate it.
Well, you're a competitive person, so you'd enjoy that because you like first of all, the honesty and transparency, but it's like, okay, I got to earn my spot every year. Okay.
Yeah.
And exactly. And obviously that was a sales position, so I kind of get it. But then like I heard, again, we're talking about like recruiters selling a dream. Like I heard, girl who got laid off, she's like talking about the process, and she's like, it was like they kept saying, we want to invest in people long term. We want to invest in you long term. And it was a long interview process as well. And I'm just like, okay, then,
that was the investment.
Exactly. And it's like, and I think this is where, like, again, kind of going into like, this is what's happened. And I correct me if I'm wrong, maybe this didn't happen, but in my mind, what I'm envisioning is a bunch of like culture consultants popping up that are making tons of money
100%.
Going in
100%.
and saying, this is how you do culture. And then it's like everything then it's a repercussion of that. You got recruiters selling these cultures, not really telling the truth about what's going on. Then you got candidates lying about what they're doing. And then it's like onboarding's a lie. And you're just like, just be a little bit more transparent, you know?
I feel like this is... We
like
see
network
this.
marketing.
Yeah. I mean, we see this in so many organizations. You have a killer branding team who doesn't take into consideration the actual organization, right? They're worried about the creative, the messaging, the copy, the this, the that, and then they disseminate, right? They do their thing, right? They get it looks beautiful. They get the website going. They spend hundreds of thousands on the fucking copy, all this stuff. They hold town halls. They bring it down into the organization, but the leadership, the middle managers, they don't believe in it. They weren't part of it, right? So it's a marketing message put down into the organization, and the employees sometimes believe it, and they're jazzed up about it, but then it's not managed into the organization. There's no change.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why it's like with the employer branding, I think it's just you got to get that balance of real talk about like who you are and what it's like. And honestly, I think it's also within the recruitment process as well. Like we just got to get away from like the selling mentality in recruitment
100%.
and like.
Well, some of that, Joel, for me is becoming, are you a company advocate or a candidate advocate? If you're a candidate advocate and that's just true to your heart, then you're just going to tell the truth.
Yeah.
When they say, hey, do they really promote women? And you're like, you know what? I haven't seen that.
Exactly.
I haven't seen that. Doesn't mean that it won't happen with you, but I haven't seen that so far in all the people I've interviewed and all the people that I know there. I'm not going to lie to you. Just not going to lie to you. And so,
well, like work-life balance is another one, which like everybody's just like, well, the greatest work-life balance. And then it's like you get in there, it's like 90-hour work week.
Yeah,
and you're
work is your life.
For PTO. You're like, why don't you just say that?
Well, Amazon.
I think recruiters should be an advocate for the candidate.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a challenge, right? They have to have the company in mind. I get it, but they're an agent of the candidate, 100%.
Should be.
Even internal
but then you think about
recruiters,
like
it doesn't matter.
If you are like that, in the long term, you're doing it for the company, right? Because if you actually tell someone the truth, you're like, hey, based on what you said, like I actually don't think they'd be
It's
a
not
fit.
a
Based
fit.
on what I know.
It's a good one for you.
But then it's the hiring managers in there as well. It's like the KPIs in recruitment a lot of times are not helping recruitment because it's a lot about number of applicants, number of interviews.
Drive poor behavior.
They do. Like
absolutely.
Like, last agency I worked at, it was like all about send outs. And because they'd done a math equation and gone, well, if you get 30 send outs and you get this many interviews, you get this many offers. My focus was like, I don't care how many send outs I get. I want to have great send outs. So like I'm not like trying to like just do a math equation because it's like it doesn't always work out like that. Like I'm more focused on like trying to find the right person for that organization. The problem is like, again, it's these like KPIs.
Yeah. You were low on the leadership board.
Yeah. Well, you're right, William. They incentivize poor behavior. Joel, I'll send it to both of you. I won't leave you out, William. I was doing some cleaning out the other day, and I found a ton, folders, like stacks of paperwork from an agency I used to work out. It's exactly what it was. Send outs, callbacks, interviews, connects, clicks, the whole thing. And I kept it for whatever reason. It was in this box of folders. I took photos.
You knew it was wrong. You knew it was wrong.
So I threw it all out, but I took photos of them. I was like, I got to take photos of some of this to share with people because I just thought it was hilarious.
Dude, that's a LinkedIn post. Here's what not to do. This image.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's like, that. And for some reason, like internally, it's it's always the thing you hear. Like, oh, I want to see more applicants. And I'm like, no, you don't. Like, we don't need more. We want to get the right people. It doesn't matter if there's 5 of them or 1 of them. It's like the quality matters. And I think that's where, again, like the employer branding, you want to, I think of it like, you don't want a net. You want like a trap, right? And it's like the difference between the two. And it's like because with traps, you're like trying to get a specific, animal or whatever. And then obviously it's not maybe the best analogy, but with like a net, you just like whatever's in there, we'll take it. and then you're having to sort through. With a trap, it's like a little bit more focused. I'm like, that's what employer branding needs to think about. Like,
yeah.
And
see, I tell people that when you're dealing with EB, for so many years, it's all been kind of skewed to attract.
Yeah, exactly.
What can you do to attract? So everything is, you look at the career sites, you look at the job descriptions, everything is about everything being glorious. It's almost Disneyland, Disney World kind of esque. Here's a perfect place that has perfect shit and perfect people, and you'll love it. The utopia. But really, it should attract and repel. So those things, if someone comes in, like Amazon's a great example of this, because they're not really known for work-life balance.
Yeah.
And years ago, the New York Times took them to task for this, and they said, this is a bad culture. And I'm like, it's not a bad culture.
Yeah.
It's their culture.
Exactly.
I mean, that's basically, if you take Amazon, you take any company on Wall Street, they have the exact same culture. So why would you say this about Amazon? They just say, hey, listen, it's a shark-infested waters. It's meritocracy based. If you expect work-life balance, don't come to work here. You know, like, that's the bit. And people know that when they apply, they're like, okay, I can see myself being here.
Yeah.
And so it attracts that group of people, and it should repel people that are not like that.
Exactly. And I think that's the fear, right? All the time it's just repelling. And it's the same with like, personal branding. It's the same thing. We were talking about this before. My personal brand does not attract like the big, Nike's not knocking on my door going, Joel, can you represent us? Like, you just bashed our CEO. No, I'm not going to, it's never going to happen. And I'm okay with that because I enjoy actually working with like smaller companies and startups that allow some like freedom. But that's what happens with your personal brand as well. And it's like the best personal brands are the ones that have a point of view and you stand with it, and and somebody comes and argues with you, you just are like, yeah, okay, well, you have a strong point of view too. Great. That was the whole idea. We're trying to get a conversation. And I think with the employer branding, like you said, like it is like, and someone recently sent me a culture video and they were like, oh, what do you think about this? And I'm like, it's just, I don't believe it. I don't believe it because I've worked at companies before where it's like the first 2 months, everyone's excited. And then it's like 6 months, you get in the conversation under the scenes. And it's like, you get people just are pissed off behind the scenes. And it's like, I'm not saying you necessarily put that out there, but like you said, it's like this perfect place idea is but I don't think Gen Z, this is again, like I get really into the video and like why a platform like TikTok or like this short form video is really powerful. And it's because there's the videos that go viral now, they're all the authentic ones and they're not really well produced. It's just like a person kind of just speaking almost like a FaceTime to many. And I think within corporate culture, we kind of need more content. Like instead of even looking at like, hey, let's have a creative, like you said, Ryan, having that creative employer branding team, let's just look at our employees and like, let's do some stuff with them. And it's okay if it's a little bit awkward. It's okay if it's not perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's what that's going to relate to people. So, oh, whoa, like I'm into that or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Do you try? This is the funny. And I know we got to go because of time. But like when I watch a YouTube short or a TikTok and it seems too well produced, I don't trust it. Right. It's the weirdest thing in the world because it's counter to like you think like I want good lighting and the audio, I want good audio and stuff like that. But it's like if it's too good, I'm like
exactly.
I don't believe this shit.
Well, it's and most of the this is where like I've been talking a lot about this, like just the power of video in general, and because it popped off on Instagram maybe 90 days ago. Like I started putting some of my content on Instagram, and I went from like 0 to 170,000 followers, which is insane. Wow. But when I look at a lot of the content on there, a lot of it's like these like 5-second videos with like some text, and it's like, what is that? And then my videos are on there, and it's just like a minute and a half rant on how working hard's useless and being, just learn how to get people to like you that are going to give you promotions, or here's how you lie in interviews. And it's literally me with a phone. It's just doing like a FaceTime video, and those are getting millions of views. And it's because I do think there's like, we have an influencer culture, which is also losing a lot of power because people are just like, they don't use that face cream, No,
if it says sponsored by, you should probably pay attention to that because they're probably not actually using it.
Exactly.
Joel, we could talk to you forever, brother. Thank you so much for carving out time out of your busy schedule.
Yeah, it was
Yes,
great.
sir.
Coming on the podcast. This has been great.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and hopefully we'll do it again.
100%.
We will.
100%.
Next time someone videotapes their layoff, we'll do a session.